Have you ever come downstairs, tripped on a pair of shoes that don't belong to you, and wondered, who in the world left this here? And when you scream it out loud, no one says anything. Have you ever noticed a little coat on the floor? You want to know, whose does this belong to? But no one says anything. Have you ever had a situation where you want your kids to just be more honest, and it's so frustrating? If anything like this happens in your life as a parent or as someone in a relationship, listen to the next few minutes. Hey everyone, welcome back to another short parenting video. I am your host, Chananya Abraham, psychotherapist based here in Connecticut. And today we have a very, very profound but important topic to talk about regarding honesty. And how can we create and harbor more honesty within our children? So we're going to break it down to 3, maybe even 4 main points over here. And I think it's really important that they are listened to in succession, because it's important that we have an order to this. The first most important thing when it comes to being able to talk about honesty with our kids is being able to model it ourselves. We have to acknowledge mistakes that we make. We have to show our kids that we are fallible. We are human beings just like them. And when we take responsibility for things, it builds character. You know what? I made a mistake. I know I went shopping and I know you asked me for something, and I'm sorry I forgot to buy it. Next time I go, I will take care of it. I apologize about that. Yes, I know I'm supposed to fix the light bulb in your room. I'm sorry I did not get a chance to do that yet. When we talk about the concept of, call it confession or repentance in something, it brings about a sense of integrity within ourselves. And that shows that we are a person that is able to be honorable just based to ourselves. When our kids see that, they model that and they want to do that themselves. The first and most important thing to remember is, as parents, to be able to be vulnerable, and we are also held accountable for the things that we are doing ourselves. Step number 2, we want to be able to frame honesty as something that is divine, and there's a moral obligation for us to be honest, most importantly with ourselves. But when we are honest, it's not just about ourselves, it's about how we enhance our relationships with others, whether it's teachers, spouses, friends, peers, and parents, and even our higher power as well. When we are honest, we are becoming stronger and more capable human beings. And it allows us to face life's situations head on, even if it's a difficult situation. When we deal with it head on and we're honest, it shows that, yes, I'm here to be a part of this situation, a part of this mess up, catastrophe. When we take responsibility and we're honest about it, it puts us in a place where we are able to connect to the situation more. And that's, I think, a very, very important point when it comes to dealing with honesty with our kids. We enhance our relationships when we are honest. But we want to create an environment at home where it's like, I can't tell my parents, to something where it becomes, I can't wait to tell my parents. And that's something that is really important. And that's step number 2. Creating and framing an honest relationship. The way we're going to go about doing this is step number 3. And that's by creating a safe place to be honest. A safe place to have genuine connection to ourselves and to others and to that situation. When we see others' humanity, when we see that dishonest people, it erodes bonds, and it doesn't create a situation where we want to connect to that person, and that person is not trustworthy, and therefore how would we want to be with that person? There's not going to be connection. So by us being in situations where we're able to go ahead and have relationships with others in an honest way, it brings us closer and it enhances the situations like we've been saying. At the same time, to also realize it builds trust. When we have honest relationships and we're honest with a situation, it shows the other person, you know, I'm not understanding. Can you repeat a little more? Instead of a teacher saying a concept of, so does everyone understand? Or if we're trying to give something over to our kids regarding instructions about something, so do you understand what it is that you need? And us saying, yeah, because we're afraid to go ahead and say, I actually didn't understand it. When we bring in this concept of being curious and saying, no, I'm making myself a little bit vulnerable over here, I don't really understand you, it enhances the situation, because it shows, you know what, I care and I want to hear it again because I want to make sure I get it right. When we show that to our kids, obviously by modeling it ourselves, but also showing them that if you want to really enhance a relationship, you want to really work with your sibling, tell them, you know what, I didn't understand what you were saying. Could you mind repeating yourself? Or I didn't hear that. Can you mind saying that one more time, please? When we look at at lying as a form of manipulation, it isolates us from other people. And that's not something we want when we're trying to build relationships. So by us telling our kids and showing our kids that by you lying or hiding, it's not going to harbor relationships. It's just going to sever relationships, whether it's with the sibling that sleeps in your room or the older sibling that you're trying to kiss up to and really have them like you. That puts us in a place, if we're going to lie to them, that it's going to manipulate them, or it's going to manipulate that situation. And that's going to be the opposite of trying to enhance relationships. Step number 3 is to realize that we want to have an environment where we are able to cultivate empathy and foster genuine connection with others. And that's really, really important. And that's step number 3. And very, very similar to that would be step number 4, where we want to be able to create a safe place where truth feels safe. A home should be a sanctuary for our children, where they can be vulnerable without fear. We have to be able to reinforce that honesty brings relationships together and doesn't hide mistakes. And when we hide our mistakes, it doesn't harbor the relationships, doesn't harbor the family dynamics. We want to be able to encourage our kids to speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. When we affirm their courage, when we show them, you know what, that was really, really hard to take ownership of the fact that you didn't clean up properly. Or that when you were preparing your snacks, you left a mess and you came back and said, my bad, I made a mistake. That's showing our kids, you know what, you did a really good job over there. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. I know that was not easy. Put the situation on a pedestal and say, good for you. I know that wasn't easy. I know that when you were yawning and you put your hand back and you took a marker and by mistake wrote on the wall, I know it wasn't on purpose. You took ownership of that. You said, I made a mistake. And when you do that, it harbors relationships. It shows that the situation that you've created at home is a place where kids want to be. Like we were saying before, the environment of the home should be one where instead of a kid saying, oh my God, my parents can't ever find out about this. It should be instead, I can't wait to tell my parents. And that's really important. Harbor and create an environment where honesty is something that we want to have. So again, let's go through these 4 steps one more time over here. Rule number 1, model vulnerability and accountability. And it's really important to know that we are in a place to be honest so that our kids will be honest as well. Rule number 2, frame honesty as something that is divine. And there's a moral obligation for us to go ahead and have as a family unit, and more specifically as an individual, to others, to our peers and administrative staff in school and our parents, but most importantly ourselves as well. Rule number 3, again, is to cultivate empathy, to foster genuine connection and make sure that it's a place or in a situation where they want to go ahead and do it. And very close to that, rule number 4, create a space where truth feels safe. The more we're able to go ahead and teach this to our kids, the more we will be able to have an honest and open relationship with them, and most importantly, create little honest human beings. If this video is something that is to your liking, please like and subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment below. If you have any questions, or maybe there are certain topics, please comment below or reach out to us at parentingiseasypodcast@gmail.com.